Hey there, Jen Scow here, and I'm excited to bring you my very first project as part of the ThermoWeb design team. Now, ThermoWeb sells all kinds of products from adhesives to Deco foil, which is what I'm excited about. And today I wanted to share with you a way that you can use, that you can get your own handwriting foiled. So if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm obsessed with hand lettering, and so I'm excited to try out this technique on this layout. I'm going to be using the new Deco foil adhesive pen, and I'll show you how to do that later in the video. I'm also going to show you ways that you can use that you can put foil on your projects without needing a laminator or a foiling machine or any sort of laser printer. So I'm also going to be showing you how to create these little foiled hearts on this Deco foil foam adhesive. And I've just put this pink melon color on these little tiny hearts that I've die cut. So I will be showing you that in this video as well. You can see it's a fairly thin foam, but I like the little bit of a dimension that it gives, and these are really super fun to make. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video a little bit, and I will stop, or I'll slow it down in places where I'm going to show you how to do some different techniques, and let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start by getting the bones of this layout figured out, and I'm cutting a piece of white cardstock down because I know I'm going to put my title on this, and I am making sure that it is big enough or small enough to fit through my Big Shot machine because I am going to use that for my foiling in just a minute here. I'm also using some paper from the new Maggie Holmes Bloom collection. It is this really light purple plus sign on one side and those birds on the other. I don't end up using the side with the birds. But I thought this was a good excuse to use purple because my daughter's wearing purple and I never get to use purple in scrapbooking because it just doesn't ever seem to work. I also pulled out an older Simple Stories paper that has all of those hearts on it, and then I'm pulling some of the little flowers from the Maggie Holmes Bloom collection, and you'll see a fun way that I'm going to customize these here in just a minute. So I'm going to slow down and do a little bit of a technique with you now. Okay, so I've kind of got the bones of what my layout's going to look like. I think I'm going to do something like this. I might put another little cluster of flowers up here around the top. Not sure yet. I knew I wanted to include this kind of like this purpley color because my daughter's wearing purple, and I don't have a chance very often to scrapbook with purple because it's kind of a hard color to scrapbook with. So I thought I would just pull out all the stops and go purpley on this layout a little bit. So now I am ready to get my title down. And my title is going to be The Small Stuff Matters Most, because I just want to talk about how just this simple thing of feeding ducks at the park, like this was an amazing day. Just me and her hanging out, and those little things, those little moments add up to a good childhood. And so I hope that's what I'm giving her. So what I've decided to do, so I'm going to handwrite my title, which is kind of scary, and I know that some people will freak out about that, but it's not scary. It's not too bad. If you're too nervous to handwrite it yourself, I am going to have a free printable and so that you can foil, or a cut file that you can use that says the small stuff matters the most. And I've gone ahead and written it out on this little sticky notepad just so that I can see how the words fit together. And that print or cut file will be available. You can link to it from the ThermoWeb blog, or you can find it in my shop at craftygenscow.com. So I'm just going to go ahead and write small stuff with this foil pen, and then I'll write the and matters the most with just a regular pen, and I'm going to leave some space below it for journaling. And like I mentioned before, I just made sure that this white piece would go through my Big Shot machine because the pressure of sending it through the Big Shot is what's going to adhere the foil. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started on writing that title now. And again, if you are too scared to do that, don't forget that you can head over to the ThermoWeb blog or to my shop to get a free download that you can either print and foil, or you can cut it out on your Silhouette or other cutting machine. So the first time that you use the pen, it has a felt tip, and you just need to depress it a few times to get the ink flowing. So I just like to keep a a sheet of scratch paper on the side just so I can test it. And you can see if I push it hard, then maybe a little bit of glue might come out. And so now that I've got it going, I'm going to just go ahead and write my words. And I'm not going to write this very large, and I'm going to leave space below for some journaling. So it is clear, so you have to just get at that angle where you can kind of see what you're writing. And I haven't left myself very much room, but I think it'll be just right. Okay. So let me pull this up so that you can see it. You can kind of see right where I've written it there, just the words small stuff. And now what I'm going to do, so you want to let it dry for a second so it can get tacky. It doesn't take very long, it just takes a minute. And if you are curious on how to do it, there are there are instructions on the pen. So it's very easy to figure out though. So you're just going to let it dry a little bit so it can get tacky. That's what's going to stick the adhesive to it, or stick the foil to it. So then I'm just going to grab a piece of my copper, or not my copper, I'm going to use some champagne foil. So I have a piece here. I'm just going to cut it smaller. I don't need it very big. I'm just going to cut a piece that will fit across where I put that title. And you're just going to tap it down. And when you tap it down, you can kind of see where the word shows up, where it depresses underneath where you tapped it down. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Big Shot. Okay, so now I'm going to send this paper through the Big Shot, and I'm just going to sandwich it like I would when I'm doing a die cut. I am going to add in a little shim. So this is just a piece of, not cardboard, but kind of cardboard. It's a little bit thicker, and I got it in some packaging when I bought some scrapbooking supplies. And I'm just going to stick it in there with it, just so it has a little bit more pressure to it. And you can play around and test this out on your machine and see if you need to even add a shim. You might not. And then I will just run this through. And I can feel the pressure as I'm rolling it through, so I know that it's going to work. Okay, so the best part is the big reveal. Okay, that had a little bit of adhesive on it, so now let me just move that. I'll zoom in so you can see this. What we're going to do is just peel off that, and I had some adhesive up here at the top. You know what, that's going to get covered by my photo, so I'm not going to worry about it. Be sure that you don't have any adhesive laying anywhere, and that's my fault. That's not the foil. My camera is having a hard time focusing because of all that shine, but you can kind of see it in the light. It's really, really pretty. So I love this champagne color. It's like a soft, pretty gold, if you can kind of see that there. Okay, so now I've got it laid back down, and I think that looks good. For the rest of my title, I'm just going to use a .08 pen. It's got a little bit of a thicker tip than what I use for my journaling, and so I'm just going to write the words. And I really want to encourage you to try using your handwriting on a layout. It's really fun, and it gives just a personalized touch. So I'm going to refer back to my original little sketch here so I can see how I fit all the words in. And I'm just going to do it quickly, and it doesn't matter if it's perfect because part of the charm is that it's not perfect. So matters the most. Okay, so like I said, not perfect, but I really like the way that that's looking. And now I can get all of this stuff glued down. I'm gonna put my journaling right here, and then I'm gonna come back and show you how I created a couple of embellishments for this layout and how I'm going to dress up these die cuts just a little bit more. So I'm just gonna get the bones of this layout laid down. I'll wait on these die cuts because I wanna show you something cool that you can do with that too. So I'm just adhering my layers down, and I decided that I wanted to add in a little bit of yellow because I have yellow in the flowers. And so I just found a piece of paper from my scraps. This is from an old Felicity Jane kit that I'm adding to this here. And I am just using my Thermoweb sticky dot runner for this. And I love a good dot runner, so that is my favorite. And just gonna adhere the main photo a little bit tilted so that it fits kind of nicely onto that fuchsia colored paper, and then I'm going to put the duck photo right over the top of it. Now I thought I wanted to place the duck photo on some pop dots, but I'm going to layer some flowers over it, so I decided to take them off actually, and I will pop up some of the flowers in a minute here. Okay, so before I glue down these die cuts, I wanted to just add a little bit of gold foiling to them. This particular die cut comes with gold foil or gold glitter on it, and so just to kind of tie in with that, I'm going to use the way that this looks to draw a few lines on some of these flowers with the Deco foil adhesive pen. So I'm just taking it and I'm going to I think I'm going to draw on these light areas. Actually, you can use your die cuts as a guide, and it doesn't matter if it's perfect. I just want to add a little bit here and there. So I've gone ahead and sped this part up since I already showed you this technique, but I'm just using that adhesive pen to add some little areas on those flowers, and I'm letting it dry and get a little bit tacky so that I can add my foil to it. And I'm just going to use scraps of foil because you really only need a very small bit, and I don't want to waste any of this, and so I'm just using little pieces here and there. And that's a really good way to use up your scraps, is to use the Deco foil pen and just add a few little touches of the foil to your die cuts. So I'm going to run this through my Big Shot machine just like I did before. Again, just put in that shim for a little extra pressure. And then I pull them out and the big reveal happens. And as I pull these out, I noticed that maybe I should have been a little bit more free with the pen. It looks really cool on the leaves, but this yellow flower looks a little bit liney, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and leave it, but you can color a little bit more with that pen. So now I'm just going to get to adhering all these layers onto the background of my layout, and just using some more of that dot adhesive, gluing all my layers down. And so I'm going to tuck these flowers in, and like I mentioned, I'm going to use some of the iCraft 3D foam squares to pop up that yellow flower, and it is very dimensional. So if you're looking for something with a lot of dimension, that's a good 3D adhesive for you, a 3D foam adhesive. Now I'm going to go ahead and write my journaling, and I just hand wrote out some lines, and I'm just going to quickly jot it down, and I'm just talking about what I did at the beginning about how little moments, the small stuff like this, feeding the ducks and having a really good day, all of that equals up to the great moments that make up a good childhood, I hope, for my daughter. And so I'm just talking about that in my journaling here. And I'm just using my favorite black Muji pen for that and writing it all down. And then when I'm done with my journaling, I'm going to get to embellishing the other corner of that layout. So I'm going through my die cuts to find some more flowers that I can add maybe to the upper right hand corner. And I found another yellow one, which is what I was looking for. I'm also going to look for another purple. So I went ahead and cut that flower in half so I could use it in 2 spots. And I remembered that on the sticker sheet for this same collection, Maggie Holmes Bloom, there's a little purple flower. So I'm going to put that up on the foam squares so that I have one popped up on the bottom and one popped up on the top. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some foil to these other die cuts just so that they all match. I don't end up adding it to the sticker because it's a different dimension and texture, but I do add it to these little yellow flowers and leaves. And again, I love that I didn't have to have any fancy equipment. I didn't have to have my laser printer or my laminator or anything like that to use this pen. All I needed was a Big Shot, which I know a lot of us have die cutting machines, and so I think it's a really great way to kind of get into foiling if you don't have the other things that you need. So an inexpensive way to kind of get into it. So I'm going to fiddle with these flowers quite a lot until I find a way that to place them that I like, and I'm going to look through and find one more leaf to add into this cluster. And I wanted a leaf with some glitter on it since I have some on the one at the bottom. And I'm looking for something else to add, but really what I just need to do is rearrange. And so I'll do that here in just a second. I'm going to move one of the yellow flowers up to the top, and that's going to kind of solve my problems. I'm going to move everything up just a little bit and just rearrange it. So sometimes I have to fiddle quite a bit before I get something that I like. So I'm liking this placement there. And I think I'm going to come back now and show you how I foiled the little hearts. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to show you, the last way I wanted to show you that you can add Deco foil without having a laminator or using a toner, is using the iCraft Deco foil foam adhesive. And this stuff is awesome. It's like it's a thin foam adhesive that it's peel and stick on both sides, and what you do is you can send it through your die cut machine, you can hand cut something out, you can even send it through like your Silhouette or electronic die cutting machine and add the foil to it, and you get these cute little, I'm gonna die cut these little heart embellishments that I showed you at the beginning, and I'm using the pink melon foil for that, and it matches really nicely with the rest of this stuff. So to do this, you just need the smallest little bit, because I have such a tiny die, just the smallest little bit of the foam, and then I just have a small little bit of the foil as well. And what I'm going to do is just die cut these, and so I'm just using my Big Shot and going to send this through, and I'll do it a few times and then I'll show you how to put the foil on. So now this is the easiest thing ever. I'm going to zoom in so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. And what I'm going to do is, sorry, the camera's having a hard time wanting to focus with that foil in the background, but so you're just going to peel off a layer. There's just a protective, and then it's sticky. So this is how I do it, and you can get so much out of this little tiny piece of foil. I just stick it onto the foil. So I'm going to stick all three onto the foil, and then I'll show you. So I'm just pushing them on, and then this is the best part. Just peel them off and they're foiled. So let me show you up close. You just peel it right off, and the foil comes off perfectly onto the adhesive. So this is really a cool, I apologize for that focus. That was really a cool technique. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out and get back to my layout and show you how I'm going to use these on my layout. So I'm going to just dot these little hearts around, and I'm going to fill in a little bit of the space next to the title. There's kind of a lot of white space there and it's bothering me. So I'm just going to put a few of the hearts there, and then I'm also going to put them kind of around where the flowers are. And because these are double-sided adhesive, both sides are sticky, so I can just peel and stick the back on there, and it's awesome. So that foam stuff, I've never tried it before now, honestly, and it is awesome. I love it. So I'm just placing these down, and then once I've decided where I want them to go, I'm going to add a few other details. So I'm going to add some gold photo corners, and these are just decorative photo corners, and I love them in gold because I love everything gold. And this layout just needed a little bit more shine, I'm sure. So I'm just adding it on the corners that show, obviously. And then I'm going to go back to my Maggie Holmes sticker sheet to find some little word stickers to fill in some more of the space above the title. And I'll put some at the bottom as well. So I thought about that bow, but I go back to the words And I end up choosing the words wonderful and beautiful for the top, and then adore, happy, happy, and the best things in life for the bottom. After that's done, I'm going to add some Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine just for another little extra bit of shine, and then that's going to finish this layout. So I hope that you've enjoyed this and that you'll check out, if you have any questions about the products that I used, you can check out the ThermoWeb blog. This posts on Monday, February 15th, or you can head over to my blog at craftygenscow.com for more information. I'll also link things up below. There's some close-up shots here at the end, and I hope that you have enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.